This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here at the Wine Academy with none other than Elisa Dilavanzo, who is joining us from Maeli in Veneto. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I couldn't sleep last night because I was so excited, and so everything is good.
Fantastic. Now you're on your way to the Volcanic Symposium in New York because your wines come from some very particular soil up in Veneto. Would you mind telling us a little bit about the soil?
So basically the area we have the vineyards in is called the Colli Euganei, Euganean hills, and it's a very kind of ancient area, and it's also a thermal area. We have hot spring underground under our vineyards, so it's something really unique. And we have more than 100 volcanic hills. They grew up from the middle of the flat area 35 millions of years ago, so a lot of time ago. And we manage 10 hectares of white grapes, like for example yellow muscat, and we have 3 hectares and a half of grapes, red grapes, like for example Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon and Carmenère as well. So the production, Maeli production, is really focused on yellow muscat, since yellow muscat is a kind of ambassador for us of our territory, and it's an indigenous grape variety. It's a cross between a very old clone of yellow muscat on one hand and the Chasselas grape on the other hand. So something really unique. It has nothing to do with the yellow muscat that you can find in the north of Italy.
Okay. So for those people unfamiliar with the very particular DOCG that you're based within, would you mind pointing out where they are on this little map?
Yes,
right
for
here.
sure. So first of all, you can see this is Italy,
okay,
and then we have Veneto region,
okay,
and you know very well Venezia. And 1 hour away from Venice, drive to the south, there is this very small area which is Euganean hills, and you can better see here in this map. We have more than 100 volcanic hills, and here we have the vineyards in the north with yellow muscat, and in the south, very close to our winery, here we have yellow muscat, and in the south we have Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon and Carmenère as well. And here is Monselice, where the first vine of Carmenère was born.
And I see you have thermal springs as well.
Yes.
Those throughout the region?
Yeah. You can. There are. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
In all the region, yeah.
I see. And you were saying that you have the thermals that run underneath the vineyards, which is a bit of a problem.
It's a problem, but it's also the peculiarity that we have to bring in our wines. If you open a bottle of Maeli wines, on the nose at the beginning you can smell a little bit of sulfurous note.
From the thermals.
Yes,
right.
for sure. And we can do nothing. We have this kind of peculiarity, and we have to preserve it. And we are still studying the connection between the thermal water and the taste of the wines in a project with the University of Padua, which is the city very close to Euganean hills. So we are still studying the connection between the water and the taste of the wines. But the problem is that we cannot use that kind of water to irrigate the vineyards, for sure, because it's really salty and it's really hot, 87 degrees.
Oh, so, wow, okay. Yeah.
So actually in the Euganean hills there is not much water. You know, Euganean hills are similar as regard the weather, similar to Greece. So it's very, very hot in the summer, even if it's dry hot. But water, you don't have any water in the Euganean hills, so it could be a problem for the young vines.
You also told me an interesting story about Carmenère and its history in your region, which I was completely unaware of.
Yes, Carmenère People are always thinking that Carmenère is a clone of Cabernet Franc, but it's not true. It's true the contrary.
Around, yes,
so Cabernet Franc is supposed to be a clone of Carmenère, and the first vine of Carmenère in Italy was born in our territory. I mean, in the Euganean Hills, in Lispida, which is a very small town, 8 kilometers away from my vineyards.
That's I never knew that. That is really quite cool.
Yeah.
Now, you have quite a history in the world of wine. Would you mind explaining how you came to find yourself making this wine in the region?
So, it was not a business of my family, but Maeli is just a history of passion and history of love. As I felt in love with wine, I decided to change completely my mind and my life. I used to live in Roma and Milano in Italy, as I used to working for the television of the state, and then tasting many beautiful wines, I decided to make deeper the knowledge about the wines, so that I attended Italian sommelier courses. So I became a sommelier in 2008. And then I started also traveling to understand, to know, to make deeper the knowledge about Champagne region, for example, or Bourgogne region. So I studied also in French, and when I came back, I decided to dedicate my life to wine, so that I was able to buy property, Maeli property, and so we started to make volcanic wines, especially based on yellow muscat, like for example Bianco Infinito, and this a kind of yellow muscat 100%. Can you see also the label? We put the Vulcans in the label just to remind people that we are in a volcanic region. So it's really important for us to underline the volcanic character of our wines, and thanks to yellow muscat, I expressed yellow muscat in different ways. So the still white wine is one, then we have the sparkling sweet wine, then we have also the champenoise method sparkling, which is really new. Actually, we are the first winery, not only in the region, but in Italy and all over the world, to make champenoise method 100% yellow muscat, brut nature, from volcanic soil.
Now, how many vintages of that have you made thus far?
For the champenoise method,
yes.
Just 2 vintages. We started in 2014, the first time, and so actually 2015 is the second vintage, quite ready. We extended the period of aging of the wine in contact with the yeast. So 2014 we started with 12 months, 2015 18 months, and 2016 will be 24 months.
I have to say it's the first time I've tasted your wines, and I was quite entranced by a common thread, a commonality that went through both of the still wines there. What do you believe that your very particular soils, which your winery is named after, bring to the wines?
I think that when you try volcanic wines, you are always looking for something that reminds volcanic taste. Volcanic taste is something that doesn't disappear when you swallow the wine, I mean, but is something that you can is a feeling of a salinity, for example, talking about my wines, and something that make the wine like a three-dimensional wine in your palate, something that doesn't finish, something that is making you tasting and feeling something that changing your palate. And this kind of sensation I don't have with other wines. So volcanic wines are really, volcanic soil gives a specific mark to the wines.
When it comes to pairing foods with your wine, and with you being a sommelier, what do you think the best pairings are that you have discovered for both your still wines and your sparkling wines?
I like hard pairing, I mean strange pairing. I don't like cliché. For example, the sparkling sweet I'm used to pairing with mortadella, soft cheese. It's something very different. For me, the sparkling sweet, being sweet and salty together, we can play with the pairing. And the Bianco Infinito goes well with asparagus and vegetable in general, risotti in general. But it's amazing also with, we have in Italian we say maialino, is a kind of pig. It's a wild pig that you cook in the milk. So it's really is one of the best pairing I tried in the last days. So maialino con latte.
And with your red, which I found quite fascinating in itself.
The red is really versatile too, because we drink the red wine also in the summer, keeping on the fridge low temperature, and it's really nice with some anguilla. I don't know if I can say anguilla. It's a kind of fish, very long, fat fish, but also goes well with caciucco, you know, something based on tomatoes in general. But is amazing with pasta and ragu.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your sparkling wines, you were telling me some interesting pairings with your sweeter wine that the French had come up with, I believe.
Yeah, it was something that really surprised me. I went to Paris to visit some customers with my importer, and we had lunch in a restaurant, and I asked obviously for soup d'oignon. But I love it.
The traditional French onion soup.
I love it. And they came with the soup onion on one hand and the sparkling sweet on the other hand.
It's not where I would have gone, but yeah,
it's a warm welcome, and I really appreciated it so much, because it was really something that I didn't expect, and the pairing was amazing. So when you have a little bit of a fantasy, you can play with the pairings.
Well, thank you very much for bringing your wines for tasting today. I really enjoyed these still wines. It's a great pity that your sparkling wines were delayed at custom.
Of course.
I look forward to tasting those in the future. Thank you so much for joining us here at Good Food Revolution today.
Bye.
Bye for now.